Well, folks, I'm way back in the woods this morning. It's beautiful. It's quiet. About all I can hear is crow flying around. Watching the limbs and the leaves wiggle and move around. Oh well, it's where I've been all my life. It still sounds the same. Well, folks, you could just about guess it. A lot of history and a lot of old people. There was a lot of old whiskey stills way back in the day. And yep, there was more of them than you could count. Even when it come down to the old timers burying their whiskey in gallon jugs in sawdust piles. And of course, everybody went to the little one-room backcountry schoolhouses. And all the little schoolhouses back then, they were pretty much just one-room structures. And right here, the old Shiloh School was the reason of research serving its purpose when it comes to Mary J. Kirk. One of my granddaddy's brothers once stated that they had a spring near the Shiloh School, and he went to get water one time. He put a penny on his thumb and thumped it, and it went ching. I just wonder where that penny's at today. But you know what? I believe it's time that I go visit the lone backcountry grave of Mary J. Kirk. We've had a little bit of timber cutting just on the east side track from where the grave is. I'm on the original road going in, but there's a lot of scraps from the logging thrown down here across this road, and she's still way back over here on top of this hill. They come in here with this logging. They throw this mess out across the road here, and I got to try to figure out how to get around it. I'll have to drive back up here and come back around. I guess the house place where the woman lived back many years ago was right up here on the right side of the road. So I have to go up here and go around and come right back down across the house place, obviously. But she's around on the next ridge top over here. So let me get around this mess. All right, I'm still trying to get up here to Mary Kirk's grave. But these loggers, you can see all this this stuff left behind. I never seen like stuff over here left behind from this logging outfit. I mean, I have walked up on whole oak trees and poplar trees just thrown on the ground, and there's logging going up the side of the hill right here to where her grave is. Her grave's right on top of this next hill here. But where I'm standing right here, this is the house place. This is where the house was, right here where you see the four-wheeler sitting right here. But the main original road coming in right down here, going to where she's buried, it's so piled full of trees down here, I couldn't get around it with a four-wheeler, and I had to come up here and find a way to loop back in to get to this main road. It comes from this way, like coming in. It comes right through where all this mess is thrown down. And there's the road going up and turning left where she's at. But right back east, this is east of her grave. This is a house place. So they have made a road through right over the top where the house was. Just guessing, as I can tell, I think the house was just about where my four-wheeler's at right here. All right, I'm gonna jump back on the four-wheeler here and make a loop on down here and go up on top of the next ridge there. Hopefully that Mary is still up there undamaged. Hopefully to goodness. All right, there's the main road coming in right there. Coming on by. There's some cutting went on right in here, right up against her. All right, there looks like the bow right there off of the arrangement that the Kirks left. I will add the description to the YouTube episode involving history of Mary J. Kirk in the description beneath this video. It was an amazing episode, of course, where the whole family come up here and visited the grave. But there she is, folks. Thank goodness that the logging didn't touch her. But it has went on around her pretty heavily here. There's stuff cut down through there, over here, and back around. There's the flower arrangement that the family left. Apart in different pieces. Mary J. Kirk, mother, 1856 to 1898. Well, I would have straightened up the flower arrangement, but there's no straightening up to be done. It has been ripped all to pieces. You know, this was a pretty good size flower arrangement in one cluster that they left, and it's hard to imagine that it's ripped apart in as many pieces as it is. I mean, it is literally flower by flower. And there's the bow off of it way back up the side of the trail over here. But jumping back to the first video, before I ever even met Mary's family, you know, as I always knew about Mary's grave all my life. My granddaddy did, my granddaddy's brothers and their families. You know, the old historic Shiloh School used to be right across the hollow up on the next ridge behind me, west. And I remember hearing my granddaddy's brothers talk about when they was walking to school there years ago. They used to come up out of this branch bottom over here and come right up through here somewhere, and one of my uncles said that he'd come right up here and he'd walk right by Mary's grave and turn west to go to school. He kind of laughed a little bit about it there one time. He said, yeah, he said, I used to walk right by her grave, he said, every morning going to school. But on the first original episode, of course, I had said, I don't know why she was buried here, because I've never heard a story about that. And when the family came, I said, well, as far as the story, I guess I have now. But the history of Mary J. Kirk, 1856 to 1898. Well, we made it back. You know, I've been wanting to make it back to Mary's grave for a while, for the family to have another look, of course, or another update. But, you know, sometimes in the historical field, it's nice, or it's amazing to actually see a story come to an end when it comes to research. And this is one story right here that did. You know, the family, they knew about where she was buried at, but nobody could ever find her. Of course, I knew where she's at all my life, from being back over in these woods with my granddaddy or something. I was so young, I can't remember who I was with back then, but I think there's 2 or 3 members of that family said they'd been searching for her for over 60 years. And I just included walking over here and looking at her grave, you know, in another video. And that's where it all started. A friend, a member of the family saw that other video and saw her grave, and there you go. But you know, it's just it's amazing when something like that in the history field, you know, comes up, and getting to be out here, getting to be at the location at one point in time with the family. That's the biggest, most exciting part, you know, is right here where I'm standing now. Right here where I'm standing right now. You know, there was 23 of us standing here at one time that day. I think it was June the 10th. 2 years ago, a year before last, June before last, June 23, I guess that'd be. 23 of us at one time. Yes, I've never quite seen a story come to the closing as a history of Mary J. Kirk, and you know, a lot of people wonders why she was buried, you know, back off. Why she buried 1.5 miles, 2 miles back off in the middle of the woods? Well, that wasn't the story back in the day. The house was over here. The house was about 150 yards across the hollow up on the next little rise right east out here. So her husband jumped out here west of the house and buried her. And as I heard, his intentions was to be buried here by her. But he ended up, I think it was, getting married again, and his name was James Allen Kirk. He's buried in the historic Kirk Cemetery just west of here, down not far off of Highway 57 going toward Pocahontas. Otherwise, he would have probably been buried here. But James Allen Kirk, her husband, he was in the Civil War. And the actual headstone, the marker here, it was purchased by Mary's youngest son. So, but anyway, for the closing of this video, or episode, I'm going to hold 3 flyers that come out of this arrangement that the family left. And I'll just say 3 flyers is 1 for friends, 1 for family, and 1 for life. So, you know, I'm just thankful again that, you know, the Lord allows a story to come to such an ending as it has and did with the history of Mary J. Kirk. So until next time, as I come to you from the historic backcountry grave of Mary J. Kirk, I'm Garen Carlin, Mosses Creek Outdoors Historical Division. And I'll see you next time. And after 60 plus years, research served its purpose.